Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Comedy of Errors, and we get to hear from Egeon in Act 1, Scene 1 again today. Egeon being the merchant of Syracuse, who has found himself in Ephesius, and because he is in Ephesius, and Ephesians hate Syracusians and Syracusians hate Ephesians, if somebody from one of those towns finds himself in the other town, then they are sentenced to death unless they can come up with $1,000 bail, 1,000 marks. Bail. Egeon didn't have enough stuff on him, so the Duke of Syracuse, Silenus, has sentenced him to death, but asked why he was in Ephesius in the first place. So yesterday, Egeon told us this very long story about how he had twin sons who were so incredibly identical, the only way that you could tell them apart was by their name. And he had purchased another set of twins who were so identical that you could only tell them apart by their name when they were babies so that they could be attendants on his sons. And he and his wife and the two sets of twins were sailing back home after he had been elsewhere to settle all of his accounts and stuff like that. And there was a shipwreck, and they tied one of each of the sets of the twins to opposite ends of a mast and put the mom on one side and the dad on the other side to try to save themselves during this shipwreck. And it kind of sort of worked until some boats showed up, and then the mast that they were on split in two. So the wife and one of their kids and one of the purchased kids, which is such a weird way to put it, but anyway, they get picked up on a boat and taken presumably to Corinth. Father and one of his sons and one of the attendant twins get taken elsewhere to live. And at this point in the story, the Duke is sort of enthralled. The Duke of Ephesius is enthralled and wants to know what's going on. So he's like, okay, so you got split up from your wife and half of your children, but what happened since then? Because apparently that's when they were babies. And are they still? What's been going on? And Egeon says, my youngest boy, and yet my eldest care, at 18 years became inquisitive after his brother, and importuned me that his attendant, so his case was like, reft of his brother, but retained his name, might bear him company in the quest of him, whom, whilst I laboured of a love to see, I hazarded the loss of whom I loved. 5 summers have I spent in farthest Greece, roaming clean through the bounds of Asia, and coasting homeward came to Ephesius, hopeless to find, yet loath to leave unsought, or that, or any place that harbours men. But here must end the story of my life, and happy were I in my timely death, could all my travels warrant me they live. So the end of his story is that when his son turned 18 years old, he started wondering what had happened to his brother and his mom. And the servant boy also wondered what happened to his brother and his mom. And it seems like both brothers have adopted their brothers' names in honor of those who they had lost. So Egeon set out around the world to try to find them, and has been searching through Asia for the last 5 years to try to find them, and didn't want to stop in Ephesius, but knew that he had to look everywhere, so took his chances. And he's like, you know what, if I can just find out that they're alive, then I'm okay with dying at this point in my life. And Silenus, having heard the whole tale, has some thoughts, and we will hear those thoughts as tomorrow's monologue. So I'll see you then for that. Mwah.